Dear God in heaven, I thank you so much for today. I thank you, Lord, that we're able to come together for just another conversation. And I ask that you would be in the midst of this conversation. There are people today who are alone, and we're coming together alongside in community because you are here with us. Bless this conversation. Bless us to bless other people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Good morning and welcome to What's the Message? Do you believe we're already up here to episode 64? I think I lost count and I cannot even believe it. We're doing well. I'm glad you're with us today. We got so much to talk about. I'm your host for today, Carmela Monk Crawford, editor of Message Magazine, which is the longest running Black Christian magazine in the country, on the continent, I would dare say in the world. And we don't do this because we're bragging. I just believe that God puts us here and preserves us because he has something to say to and through Black people. And we've got some conversations that we need to have today, some very important conversations. As you know, things are running a little special right now. I'm running solo, but I need you to help me out today and go ahead and weigh in on the comments as we talk to our guests. Go ahead and share alike. You can't keep all this goodness to yourself. This is what we need to do to come alongside and share with each other and uplift each other. One thing I know about is that we've been praying in our office for the people with that condo collapse down in Florida. We prayed just again today. I can only imagine the hurt and the pain and the angst that people are feeling, not only losing their loved ones, but to walk away, the people who did walk away, to know that there's people still there, or there were neighbors and living beings, their pets, and just walking away from all of your belongings with just the clothes on your back. So we're just lifting them up today. And especially as they call time on search and rescue, and now this shifts over into a recovery effort. There's so much going on in the world today, and we got to be there for each other. You know, the other story that we've been thinking about here at Message is the story about Bill Cosby, who was released, as many of us know, last week. And we talked about it just a moment last week. And we had a great article, and I invite you to go back to messagemagazine.com and look at the article by Tim Golden, who is a professor at Walla Walla University, who really goes through and takes the time to analyze what does this mean, not only legally, but what is our responsibility going forward. So I want you to take a chance to look at this. We'll continue that conversation this week on messagemagazine.com as we talk about the fallout for survivors of sexual violence and sexual abuse and assault. You know, has the clock had to be rewound? Have we lost ground as, you know, in the wake of, you know, just such a time of empowerment when people who have been abused and victimized and traumatized have been able to come out and speak up and know that they have the backing of people around them. They have the backing of the community who now believes and supports them through their trauma. So we're going to continue this conversation this week. But today, we have a young man on as one of our guests. Mr. Jeremiah Trace, author and entrepreneur, author of the book, Virgin Men Do Exist. And this young man, his whole life is geared toward uplifting the standard for men and women. And so we're going to talk to him in a few minutes. But before we get to that, because, you know, you got to stay tuned for his fascinating journey. So interesting. The book is a fun read, and he makes the whole topic fun, yet it kind of cuts deep. So we're going to talk to him in a few minutes. Before we get there, though, oh my goodness, this is a first. We're going to continue to do this. We had to talk to one of our regular columnists for Message Magazine. Dr. Philip Mcguire Wesley has been with us for several years, and he writes the Elevation column. And because what we're trying to do is make sure that people, you got something at the end of the day that you can listen to, a book that you can read, an app that could make your life easier. So Dr. Philip Wesley, who has just recently, moving into a new position as the assistant superintendent for spiritual life at the Northeastern Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. He's in charge of several schools and helping young people on their spiritual journey. And so, but he's ours, and he's our blessing to be here today. Dr. Phil, this is our own Dr. Phil, y'all. Go ahead, tag somebody and share it. Dr. Phil, how you doing?
All right. What's going on, everybody?
I'm glad to see you today. Come on, you talk to me. You said a few minutes ago that your little baby is there sleeping. Tell us about yourself. You're married and you got 3 kids. Talk to me.
Yeah. So, wow, a lot going on. But yeah, Trey is knocked out right now. Just put him to sleep right before we got on. And 3 daughters between my wife and I. We just excited about, just raising kids. So, business is going great. New position, new opportunities, and I'm all about shaping your new start. Right? Everybody needs a new start. So no matter where you are in life, no matter what level, no matter what time you are, you need a new start, and it can happen today, right?
You sound so positive. I mean, I remember just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you were in that grind, finishing that doctorate, doing everything, managing a business. How do you shape a new start when you're so busy?
You just have to decide that you're going to do it. First, you have to decide. It's a mindset. Once you have that mindset, then everything else, and you're learning. You're learning through your failures. Like, that didn't work. Okay, let's start again. Let's get back up. Let's keep learning and let's keep growing, and let's see how we can do it better. So, you have to definitely look back and say, hey, I'm better than I was last year. I'm in a better position. I have more opportunities. Sometimes a lot of us are waiting for opportunities. No, you got to create it. Yeah. Sometimes you just can't wait for your opportunity. You got to create your opportunity.
I know that.
And, that all starts in your mindset. You can't, sitting around like nobody's trying to give me this. No, create it. I don't need a publisher to come and say, hey, write a book. Let me just write it. I don't need a publisher. I can publish it. Nowadays, technology, so much going on. I mean, through the pandemic, I shut everything down, went virtual, put out 2 podcasts, did virtual church. So, you got to create your opportunities, and a lot of times with adversity comes opportunities.
Say it.
That's how you shape your new start. You look at your adversity and say, all right, what is my opportunity? Kind of like the SWOT analysis, right? You got to do a SWOT analysis. What is your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, and your threats?
Yeah.
And, you look at that and you realize nothing is going to keep me back from striving for what I need to get done. And so you may be juggling a few things: family, business, ministry, whatever it is, you have to decide that you're going to do it and make it happen.
Yeah. Talk to us about you got this business, your business, Mcguire Entertainment. Is that right? Did I say it correctly?
Yes, Mcguire Entertainment.
What led you to go into sort of this media and entertainment business?
It was more from a passion of seeing artists, like independent artists, have great content, great music. Nobody knows about them.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're kind of out there, but it's like, well, who's going to speak up for them? Who's going to say, hey, listen to this. Hey, check them out here. And so a friend of mine, Paula Blackwell, one day was like, well, why don't you start it? Like, stop waiting for the church to create it. Why don't you create it? You be the one. I was like, okay, all right. Well, let's see how we're going to get this done. So first it started out with Mcguire Music Group. And then my sister was like, hey, we're more than just music. Let's expand this thing. Right. And so we changed it to Mcguire Entertainment Group. And we are all about putting out Christian content, positive content that uplifts. So it's not just about music, it's about promoting authors, influencers, entrepreneurs, people that are striving for something greater, and putting it out in a form where Christ can get uplifted in different forms. So you can find Christ through a podcast, you can find Christ through a music video, you can find Christ through a book. We just want to make sure that we put all kind of content out there as much as possible.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit, because I know that, you like all different kinds of music and different kinds of things. And you are also a pastor of 2 churches. I mean, we talk about this man is working, he's putting in the work. Okay. So you're the pastor of 2 different churches. How important is a fresh sound and some different kinds of styles to your worship services? Not your worship services, but the services.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And shout out to my church, Emmanuel Seventh-day Adventist Church in Providence, Rhode Island, and Mount Olive Seventh-day Adventist Church in New London, Connecticut. So shout out to them. We've been doing great. I think music is so important, and it's unfortunate that you have some people that like to nitpick on different genres of music and try to use the Bible to do that when there is no biblical context to what their argument is about. And so I just believe in using whatever is going to meet the needs of our community and meet the needs of our congregation. Sometimes it's not even just about the congregation. Sometimes it's about the community. But utilizing different gifts, different talents. This year we've gone virtual, so I've had to use every kind of video possible. I've learned how to use content. I've gotten flagged from YouTube and all kind of stuff, and I've learned how to really navigate through that process. But we have so many talents, and in my teenage years, I wanted to be a rap artist, straight up.
I heard.
To be a rap artist. I was striving for that. I was, growing up in New York, everybody was a rapper, basically. It's like you didn't get away from a rapper. And if you grew up in New York, you knew one rapper or 2.
Yeah.
Right. So I always tell this story. I was there in 7th grade at Linden, Seventh-day Adventist School. And this guy Malik would come by almost every day, because his cousin went to school there. And he played ball with us, baseball, basketball, and he'd just always be around, just hanging with us, pouring into us. And one day he came to school in a suit. Now, he didn't go to school. He just came by because he's older. He's older by then. He wasn't at school. So he came to school in a suit. I'm like, Malik, what you doing in a suit, man? He's like, me and John just signed a record deal. I was like, for real? Yeah, man, we just started a group called Tribe Called Quest. I was like, word? And he's like, yeah, man. And that was the story. I saw him the day he signed a record deal.
Wow.
To go with a Tribe Called Quest. And, I modeled rapper, my style after Q-Tip, and, just always looked at them as kind of a role model of, and they shaped hip hop from there in just a different way, a different spin. So for all of my teenage life, that's all I wanted to do. But Malik also pulled me aside too. And he was like, listen, there's a lot more to this industry that you don't know about. I know you want to get in here, and it's cool being in a studio. It's cool performing on stage, but there's so much more to the industry you don't know about. So I just want to warn you about that. And he really just pulled me aside, because I came to his house. His house was open door, come through, and we just vibed. And I'll never forget that conversation that I had with him. And it kind of shaped where I wanted to go after that. I still was trying to pursue, but not as heavy, because I knew there was some other calling out there for me. But, I've always appreciated, what I went through trying to get in the hip hop industry and everything. Since then, Malik has passed. And so RIP to Malik Fife Taylor. And but he grew up in the church too. Grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and so he knows. He knew. It was kind of like that conversation, man. I know. And a lot of guys in the streets, they'll pull young men aside, but like, listen, I see a lot of future. I see a lot of potential in you. Walk this other way. Don't come down this block.
Don't come down this way.
Walk the other way.
I love that. Well,
You know,
talk
so
to
a lot
me
of
for a
people.
second. You got, okay, first of all, now we're all asking if you have any in you. Can you still spit some rhymes? What you got? What you got? Anything?
Oh boy. Oh,
Am I putting you on the spot?
this.
I know your members are like,
Woo. No, no, no.
not
I don't
anymore.
know
Well,
about
give
that
me
flow.
something though before we close out. Give me something about, because you write the column for us, Elevation, and every time message comes out, you give us some great recommendations about books and music. Leave us with a couple of things that we need to really check into that you think will elevate our spirits, our hearts and minds.
Well, check it out. A long time ago, I put in my book, all right, Lessons for the Journey. That's a book I co-authored with Kimon Hines, Paula Blackwell. And this tells the story of our journey, just lessons we've learned. I put the story about Fife in here in this. I believe I have a quote from Cool DJ Red Alert. I met him and he was like, yeah, call me and I'll give you what you need. So lessons for the journey. A lot of great lessons and quip notes that you want to get out of this book. You can find that on Amazon. All right. Man, my man just came out with his book, Gamal and Alexander. So he came out. We've reviewed this, Faith and Grace. So you can check that out on Amazon as well.
Deep.
And you can go to GamalAlexander.com. All right. Now, my brother, Nerva Altino just put this book out.
I remember this one.
This brother is so talented, one of the best pianists that you'll ever hear. I went to school with him, Atlantic Union College. He always won the competition. In fact, they always saved him for last. They were like, okay, everybody's good, but this guy is great. And he's performed in Carnegie Hall, the Met. I mean, wherever, he has been great, but he has a book called More Than a Gift, More Than a Gift, and tells his life story of, growing up in Queens and Queens, Brooklyn, and just how he had to shape his new start and everything. So you want to check that book out. And then
let me just say, we got to roll with this. I love all of these. And I want you to, if you get the chance, to please put some of your recommendations in the comments. We got to roll with this. I love what you do for Message Magazine, because you take us there. You keep us current. You help us remember the things that can really nourish and strengthen us. I love what you're doing. How can we find you, follow you, maybe submit some suggestions for the Elevation column?
Well, you see my you see my tag here, Dr. Phil _2 on Instagram. You can find me there. You can find Mcguire ENT. My email is always in the Message Magazine. info@mcguireent.com.
Can you spell that for us again?
info@mcguireent.com. So you can, or you can go to, we're on social media. You go to Instagram, Mcguire Entertainment Group. You can find our website, Mcguire Entertainment Group. Anywhere you can find us, you can put us in, you will find us. I did my own research. I did my own Google research. I was like, let me make sure I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
This SEO is crazy. It's crazy.
Hard. Well, I'm going to tell you, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. You all remember to follow Dr. Phil, and make sure when you hear something, someone who has a book or some good music, whatever, send it to us at Message. We would love to share it with other people so that other people can be elevated. That's the whole purpose for the column. I'm glad you're with us, Dr. Phil. Now, and I'm glad you're with us. I hope you can stay by. Can you stay by for a little while?
I'm here. Listen, I'm excited for the next guest. I was more trying to get me out of the way.
We'll stay until we hear the babies cry. Okay.
All right.
So the thing is, what you were mentioning a little while ago about the mentorship and the what they poured into you. Not only that, the idea, when you held up the book, I remember you when you were writing about it, you were talking about what Brother Altino felt growing up playing classical music in the hood.
Yeah.
And to me, those two strains here kind of lead into our next guest, Mr. Jeremiah Chase,
Yes, yes.
author of the book, Virgin Men Do. I know it says, it looks like don't, but it's Do Exist
There's
by
somewhere. There's
Jeremiah
somewhere.
Chase. He's also an entrepreneur, and he's at sexcanwaitawhile.com. Got a whole lot of stuff going on. This young man is working right now. He's talking to us while he's on his break. He's about that life in terms of bringing and reaching people with, I guess, a Christocentric worldview, even for a young Black man from Philadelphia. And so it is our pleasure to bring on and introduce to you today, Jeremiah Chase. I'm so glad that you're here today. Thank you for joining us and taking some time out, because we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Thank you, Dr. Phillip. This has been an awesome time. Enjoying myself.
I'm glad to see you here. And, you're in the car just as long as you don't drive away. Let's just talk. Talk to me. There's a quote in the book that I love that says, I think I saw this on your website. It says, God did not call us to be a practice mate, but a purpose mate. So I think you need to start with dropping some knowledge on that right now. What are you talking about?
So basically, like, I'm not a food truck. And I feel like that a lot of times in relationships, which I have done, I didn't protect my love languages, but I kind of I was giving samples out. And God was like, yo, bro, like, what you doing? Because at the end of the day, who takes a fall for that? I give pieces away to my heart and I'm heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? So like that's salty on my end. I posted a video yesterday talk about like, yo, stop treating yourself like you're a guinea pig. Stop letting people test stuff on you. Like we're not lab rats, but we're children of God. We're men of God. We're women of God. So, and that's the part where, where like I start to talk about the difference between courtship and dating. You know what I mean? Because we live in a dating world. Sometimes when people think about courtship, they think it's a synonym. They think it's the same thing. And it's like, no, if you do your research on dating, if you really do your research on dating, you'll find out that the definition of a date is actually a night out with a prostitute. So a lot of times in our relationships, we go and we prostitute our bodies out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, look, I don't care if you haven't slept with anybody. I don't care if you probably didn't even kiss nobody. But a lot of times we were in relationships with these people, giving out our time. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to even be an exchange for money, but you were exchanging something. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of time it's like, my wife always joke about it's like, yo, and I can't get that time back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get that time back. So my thing is like, yo, all right, cool. If we can really take our bodies, right, and think about our relationship with Christ and be like, yo, God, what if I really saved myself for your best?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have to practice sex on nobody. You know what I mean? Because stuff like that comes with like heartbreak. So like, what you gonna do about that? You know what I mean? Like people will encourage you to Christian date. They will encourage you to go out there and mingle and give yourself to a whole bunch of people till you find your one. Why would God do that? Why would God do that? So you mean I'm gonna smash this one? I'm gonna smash that one. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get head from this one. I'm gonna get head from that one, right? And then by the time, you guys ever see that meme where it's like an old guy in a wheelchair and they say, this is when men are ready to sit down. I'm sorry, this is when men are ready to settle down. He in a wheelchair already, right? And I feel like that's the things of what our today is now. Like I watch this podcast, right? I think the podcast is hilarious, right? But they give out the worst relationship advice ever.
They're not the only ones. There's lots of people out there doing that.
Yo, and like we're rap because like, yo, Dr. Phil, I wish I can be like, yo, but you know what? The only reason why it's worse because our morals. They believe in premarital sex. I don't.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well,
so it's like, Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me say, first of all, we can see that you are on a roll and you are passionate. You do not lack passion. let me just stop for a minute, because I think we can all, when we look at you and we hear this brother coming here, got your hat on backwards, got your nice t-shirt and watching everything, and the way you talk, I don't know if you are what people thought we would talk to when we're talking about virgin men do exist, and you were the virgin man that you're writing about. So talk to me, where are you from? I believe you're from Philadelphia, but talk to me about your background. Did you grow up in a Christian home? What was your family like? And now, what are you doing now? Because I think you work at a tech company or something like that. Talk to us.
Yeah, so I'm 29 years old. I'm from North Philadelphia. I grew up in Philly all my life. Grew up in the hood. I grew up Christian household, dad pastor. Parents got divorced when I was like 17. My parents, they were virgins before they got married, but they never talked to me about sex. Never talked to me about girls. I never had that conversation with my dad. So it was kind of like what the heck? Like how are you this person today? But a lot of people had a perception of me because of the way I dressed. My wife is 37 years old. But my wife looks 25. And my wife was also a virgin. You know what I'm saying? So we got married.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. Yeah. You tell me, you said you grew up in Philadelphia. Yep. You grew up in the church. Obviously, now you're married. When did you write this book?
I wrote the book in the pandemic when I lost my job. Last year. Yeah, last year. So, March I got started. Like March I got started. I really started writing in like April because I was in a book coaching class. So it lasted about a month, and then I started going hard, writing my book. So I never thought I'd become an author though. I was like, man, I don't want to read no books. Yeah. I like reading things that are like really interest me. Yeah. But I was like, man, but then I was like, yo,
you say at the beginning of the book that as you're dedicating it and giving the introduction, that you're like, Lord, the Lord sort of, it sounds like the Lord kind of put it on you. And here here you had to come out here and bring this to the world. What was that experience like?
Oh, like just writing a book?
No, just having sort of the idea or the sense that the Spirit was leading you to write this book.
Oh yeah, it was just like because like a lot of times when God tells me to do something, I'm like, yo, all right. Because I would believe myself to be really like obedient because I don't want to miss out on opportunity. I don't. So I'm like, especially God tell you something, like I really was hearing what you know what I'm saying, what Dr. Phillip was saying, like, yo, create your own opportunity. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people out here complaining, yo, create the opportunity. I'm a firm believer in that. So it was just like, but when the opportunity comes from the Lord, I don't want to try to sleep on it. Because God knew how I felt about books and just kind of just reading. I like to read, but I like to read things that are interest me. A lot of things don't interest me to read. If that makes sense.
I hear you.
So, but yeah, like during that time, it was just like, all right, cool, God, if this is what you want me to do, then put that fire in me. And God put that fire in me. So, and look, the crazy thing is, because my book coach was telling me, she was like, Jeremiah, all right, so when the pandemic started, for me in March, when I lost my job, I started going hard on social media. Like I started going hard. And our first live was pornography and masturbation. So my sis Summer Joy, she was delivered from homosexuality for like 15 years. Me and her, we went live. We did like a 2-hour live. Put that thing up on YouTube, and like people, they got saved that night. After that, it was curtains from there. So
Let me ask you something right on that point. And Dr. Phil, feel free to jump in here at any point you feel like, because I've just got so many questions for Jeremiah. And is that okay if I call you Jeremiah?
Yeah, that's cool.
So, it's interesting that you said that, because in the book, you talk about abstinence, talk about masturbation, you talk about pornography, you even talk about celibacy. But I get the sense that what you are presenting when you're talking about virginity, that all of those were easier to talk about. And you hear more about those than virginity. Am I picking up on that correctly?
Yeah.
And why would that be the case? Because
celibacy is a difference between celibacy and the difference between abstinence. Celibacy, if you look at it, like priests, they're celibate. Like they took a vow never to have sex again. You know what I mean? Somebody that's practicing abstinence, it's like, okay, you're waiting until like marriage. You know what I mean? But celibacy is like, all right, you had sex before, that you're never getting the draws again, right? But some people don't understand that. They be like, yeah, I'm celibate. They be like, no, the real definition is like, you don't want to be married. Like, you're not interested in being married. You're not interested in any sexual pleasure, you know? So we are in a society where it's popular to say celibacy. It's people that got married that say, yeah, I was celibate. But it's like people just lack the knowledge of knowing what the two differences are. So that's one of the things that we do. And shout out to my sis Shakia Seabrook, because she deals with that a lot and actually brought that to my clear attention. Because I will always say abstinence, because I really too wasn't schooled on the word celibacy. But when she brought it to my attention, I was like, all right, cool. So her organization called the Sexless Tribe. So shout out to her. She does
you didn't tell me, why do you think that people don't want to talk about virginity?
Oh yeah, no.
You'll give me that. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. I'm too
No,
excited.
it's cool. It's cool. So we always live in a culture where, all right, all three of us know people who have gotten married, but we don't know their testimony if they were virgins or not. And I'm not saying get on the soapbox. I'm not saying start, get on the bullhorn and say I was a virgin before marriage, but people lack that testimony. People lack sharing that. It's like, even my parents, how come the kid didn't know y'all were virgins? Like, why didn't you tell me that? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. And a lot of times we used to be, like we said, the Black household, any household, especially the Christian household, come on, man. Like, y'all not talking to y'all kids.
Yeah.
Like, why y'all think pastors' kids is out here wilding? They're not talking to them.
You know what's funny is that you're talking to two pastors' kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, now look, y'all can say, well, my parents talked to me. All right, cool. I'm not going to argue with that. I wasn't there. But I know it's a whole bunch of, think about it. Name one artist that didn't grow up in the church.
Yeah.
Name one artist that didn't grow up in the and now they out here doing secular. You like, dang.
Yeah.
Well, you ain't think about giving God one album?
Well, now they are. Now you got Snoop and everybody else. But let me ask you a question on mindset and clarity of thought. Before marriage, talk to us about how sex sometimes clouds the thought, and being a virgin or being abstinent before marriage. Talk to us about clarity of thought and making clear decisions based on that action.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to start here to actually knowing your why. You know what I mean? Knowing your why, that you want to wait, why you want to do something. But to get on that, like the clear thought, and I also say this, me and my wife, we waited to have our first kiss until the altar. And we actually found that that's really popular with couples, ones who are Christians and ones who aren't. Because people, whether you believe it or not, you know what sex does. Stop playing with me. You know what it do. So that's why I've met a lot of people, they say, celibacy or abstinence is so like refreshing, like it clears my mind. You know what I'm saying? So me even kissing a young lady, that's putting blinders in front of me. That's putting blinders in front of me, because I know even though I'm not going to have sex, I'm still being distracted by something, because something that my flesh wants to do, something that my flesh wants to be entertained by. You know what I mean? You know, holding hands and touching and stuff like that, you know, those can be blinders. So, you know, people are like, well, you know, I don't think it's a big deal. All right, cool. Well, you don't think it's a big deal until you're behind heartbroken again from something that you had uh control of, you know. But sex, I mean, it can cloud your judgment about people. You know, I've had a friend of mine where he was telling me, he was like, yo, bro, like, you know, like the weight, and we was talking about different things and talking about women. And I actually had to tell him, I said, bro, think about all the women that you had sex with, right? He was like, all right. So I said, think about how many times, how many women those were, and how many times you would have been a father. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about how many bullets you dodged, and women that you didn't have no intention to marry. How many baby moms or baby mama dramas would have came out of that situation? You know what I'm saying? But it's like it really can cloud your judgment, because it doesn't tell you about people. You know what I'm saying? It honestly, it doesn't even tell you about that person's body. It just tells you about the physical part, because you don't know if somebody has a sexual transmitted disease until after the fact. You know what I mean? So it's just like you and like the crazy thing is, what a lot of people don't know, Dr. P, it's like, look, you can find out a lot about a person without sleeping with them. You can find so much about a person. You know, honestly, it's like, yo, like the sex part is probably like, you know, you don't know much about them, and you still getting to know people after having sex. You know, people are still trying to get to know people after having them. You know what I mean? And then they don't think about the spiritually transmitted diseases. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you don't even need to have a soul tie even to have sex. Some
Talk to
people
us a
soul
minute.
tie from, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Talk to us about a soul tie. You do mention that in the book. What is a soul tie?
Yeah, so a soul tie is soul ties, they can be a positive or a negative, right? So I believe that we're soul tied to our parents, because they are our parents. Like, I don't care what kind of situation y'all have. You know, if you say for some reason I stopped talking to my father, and like I found out like my dad passed away. You know what I mean? I don't care what fallout happened. I'ma still feel some type of way. You're like, dang, my pop passed. You know what I mean? Or when a relationship is created. It was David and Jonathan. Don't get me wrong, they were best friends. A lot of people, I don't know why they will try to say that they were gay. You know, no, they were soul tied to each other. They were best friends. They had that relationship. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, when you create a relationship with somebody through sex or just friendship, you create something. So you create a soul tie, you know, and I really believe that there are different levels of it too as well. You know what I mean? Some bad and some positive. But a lot of times we only talk about the positive. We talk about soul ties, you talk with that person. You do got to be mindful of that. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what other people are dealing with. You know, it's like people like y'all believing in zodiac signs, horoscopes, but never believe in God's plan, never believe in his plan for love. But you going up there and, oh, I'm Sagittarius. Like, come on, man. Like,
let me ask you this. I would love to know the experience that you had, even with your, you know, the friends in your social circle. What kind of reaction, you know, toward you regarding your stand? And then I have a second question that's closely related to that.
Oh yeah, no problem. You know what, Ms. Crawford, honestly, I've never had none of my friends look at me crazy because I was a virgin. I said it in the beginning of my book. My boys, Devin, Warren, G Money, and Tyler, they was like, yo, like, and some of them, they like, cause I had to call them and ask them. I said, yo, did you know I was a virgin in high school? Like, did y'all know that? And they was like, yeah, Chase. They was like, yo, remember when you told me? You know what I'm saying? Then one person I didn't tell him yet, and he said, yo, but when we were talking about women, they said, yo, I knew Chase, he was just on a different type time. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got friends who won't even talk to me about certain things because they know I'm not on that type of time, but they respect like my morals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
So, but yeah, it's always been a respect thing. It was just like, yo, like, oh, bro, like you still a virgin? And I'll be like, yeah. Like, all right.
So,
It was always a respect thing. I was never made fun of. The only time was
mm-hmm,
when I started Sex Can Wait a While, and this one picture got viral.
mm-hmm,
It said 28-year-old virgin and 36-year-old virgin. A picture of me and
mm-hmm,
my wife wearing these shirts: friendship, courtship, um, marriage, sex,
mm-hmm,
and it went viral. So people people hopping on the post, trying to make fun of our, because my wife is 8 years older than me,
mm-hmm,
and the fact that we were both virgins. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
So we preaching this gospel in a world that's like, yo, what the heck?
mm-hmm.
Like, what y'all doing? But the good will always outweigh the bad. People don't
Okay.
know that it's a whole bunch of virgin men out here, a whole bunch of virgin women out here, a whole bunch of people that's practicing abstinence and celibacy that needed that message. Like, yo, okay, cool. I got the confirmation. Yo, I can keep pushing,
Mm-hmm,
to make you feel even more comfortable. Like, yo, okay, cool. We are
mm-hmm.
starting a trend about the wait. We're rep. It's like, all right, you gonna make fun of us because we waiting, then we gonna make fun of you because you having premarital sex. Because you won't like them jokes. You won't like the heartbreak jokes of how you got to keep on finding a
Uh,
different person.
uh,
You won't
uh,
like them jokes.
yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about how you did find your bride. I don't know if we could put it up by James. I don't know if you can put it up or not. But so you're married now, and this is
Yes, ma'am.
new. This is
Yes,
new.
ma'am. Yep,
Talk to us.
newlyweds.
How did you find your lovely bride?
So what happened was in 2017 I started a men's talk show.
Mm-hmm.
This is before Sex Can Wait a While. It was called Gentlemen's Club Real Talk. So we would go Facebook Live, and we would do it at the Urban Arts Gallery in West Philadelphia. So we would do the show every Monday night at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
One of Brandy's friends was acting in a play. So this play rehearsal would happen before we would come and do our show. So I had connected with her, was talking to her. She got a radio show. She was like, look, all right, cool. I'm gonna watch this show tonight, but I want y'all to come on my radio show. I was like, all right, cool. So she watched that show tonight. She watched the episode tonight and she shared it. So I will always go in, find out who liked it, who shared it and stuff like that, and I would thank them. Brandy was one of those people. So I reached out to her. I said, yo, thanks for liking it, and sharing the show. Boom, I kept it moving. I would do that with a lot of people. And I
Yeah.
made great friends doing that. So it wasn't like I was on the joint, like trying to see who she was, because she didn't even know who I was, because my picture had 3 guys in it. It was
Mm-hmm.
me and my 2 bros I did the show with. So she
Mm-hmm.
didn't know which person like she was talking to. So after that, we had formed a friendship. It was like
Mm-hmm.
and look, I formed a friendship with other people at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
it happened where it was like September of that year. She invited me to like her birthday party, but like I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
I had something to do with something like that. Um, and because I didn't really know her like that, but she invited me. Like I knew her enough to where she felt comfortable, like, yo, I got this birthday dinner, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, slide through if you want to. You know what I mean? Like we call it a cool shit. We just
Mm-hmm.
cool. That's it.
A cool ship. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, she was just like, just come through, but I didn't go. So I hit her up. I said, look, because she praise dances. I said, look, next time you praise dance, let me know. I pull up. So when I hit her up, she was like, because she lived far, like she lived like
Mm-hmm.
an hour away from Philly. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So she was like, man, like you not about to, like this is her telling, like thinking in her head, like, yo, you're not about to come all the way out here to like
Mm-hmm.
Violin, New Jersey. You know what I mean? So she sent me the flyer. I was like, all right, cool. So I popped up.
Mm-hmm.
I popped up that day, and I was like, all right, cool. She danced, did an awesome job. She also got a word from the Lord that day. That was crazy,
Oh.
about her husband, and didn't even know it was me. That
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was funny. Um, but I was like, yeah, let's go to IHOP afterwards. She's like, all right, cool. It was like this concert that started to like That joint started, it was like from like 3 to 8. I was like, this 5-hour long concert. So what the heck, I'm about to be out, like, you know what I'm saying? So one of my homegirls hit me up, was like, yo, he's like, yo, you trying to go to this art show? I said, yeah. So I was like, yo, I'm about to be out. Like, we're gonna hang out later. So I dipped. So it was like 2 weeks later, I said, yo, look, I know I said, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we supposed to go get something to eat or whatever. What you doing today? It was like on a Sunday. He was like, no, I ain't doing nothing. So we had went to like Outback. And then after that, that's how we met. You know what I mean? And that's how we started to get close.
You went from a cool ship to that's, you need to add that to the shirt. The
right. Cool ship,
part,
friendship,
courtship,
marriage, sex.
When did you find out that when did you reveal to each other that you were both virgins and seeking a godly mate?
We was on the phone one day and I said something, because I was always comfortable sharing about my virginity. I don't never had no problem with that. It was a part of my life, you know. So I would just say the conversation like, yeah, I'm a virgin, you know what I mean? So I told her on the phone, you know, when we was just cool, and she said something implying that she was a virgin, but I never like asked her like, yo, you a virgin? But because I didn't meet a lot of virgins.
Okay.
So, which I didn't care, because I didn't care if my wife was a virgin or not. I was chilling. So she so another time on the phone, I had talked to her, and I was like, yo, B, I said, remember that time we was having this conversation, and I was like, I said something about me being a virgin, and you said something, but I thought to myself, I said, I thought to myself, like, was she a virgin? And so I asked her, and she was like, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. That's what's up.
Well, now today you're married, you've got a new family. Dr. Phil, I thought you were going to jump in there. Were you saying something?
No, I mean, listen, this is great content. This is something great for everybody to think about. And actually, I did years ago what's called a purity ball. And, you know, encouraging abstinence before marriage. So, and it was successful for at least 3 years. I did that while I was working in youth department, really just trying to inspire young people to, you know, think on this level, because, and that's why I asked the question about cloudy mindsets and making decisions. And it really goes to the point of, you know, your every decision, because guess what? The church has a high divorce rate, right? Doing it the world's way has not worked out for us. Okay.
Never.
So, you know, we're talking about a long-term plan that's going to last. And guess what? If you get with somebody and can I keep it real? You like them, right? Sex is going to take a break for a minute. Like for whatever reason in a marriage, sometimes it takes a break, and you gotta love that person that you're with. Right. You got to be able to vibe with that person, whether it's health issues, whether it's just mood issues, whether, you know, you've got to be able to deal with that. So I think that these concepts are key.
Oh my goodness, this is so good. And I love the thing. Look, before we leave this topic, because I'm going to ask you about the Christian Fashion Week. But before we leave this topic, when you start off the book, you are talking to the person who feels alone. And I want you to end this topic by talking to that person out there who's trying to live the way the Lord is leading them to live, or that person who's holding out hope, but it's taken a while. Give them a word before we leave this topic.
I want you to understand this. I want you to be comfortable where you are. If it's in your heart that you really believe that you're going to be married, because everybody's not called to be married, that needs to be a reality that you do think about. But I do believe, if you believe in your heart that you'll be married, okay, cool, then you'll be married. Your focus is your singleness. Yeah, you need to embrace that. You really need to embrace that. Enjoy the time you are in now. You know what I mean? Because if you enjoy your time, then because God not going to send you no slouch. You know, God won't send you no project where you got to tell them and show them about abstinence and purity. No, God will. Eve met Adam where he were. where he was in the garden. That person is going to meet you there. You know what I'm saying? You know, so just understand and stop worrying about when this husband or wife is coming. Worry about where you are now. Worry about where you are now. Because sometimes we put too much prayer and we put too much focus on the other person. I made a post the other day. I said, God desires us to know him more in that credit score, right? So you want to make sure that you cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And don't worry about what people making fun of you and stuff like that. Share your testimony. Don't be scared to share your testimony. And virginity does not equal purity. It's not the same thing. Because I was dealing with masturbation. So I wasn't pure. I wasn't practicing purity, masturbating at the same time.
It's a difference.
You know,
it's a complete difference.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you. I love your transparency and your honesty. And I'm not even looking at the comments. I'm just listening. I hope you guys, are braced for this conversation. This is the kind of thing we have to talk about. You didn't even want to talk about. I mean, you were saying we got to talk about it. And I guess the times that we don't is when we're having our people in our close circle falling through the cracks or feeling that like they're alone. Now, let me just shift gears for a second. We only got a few more minutes, and you're out here in your car talking to us. You got to go back to work.
I got 9 minutes.
Come on, talk to me about the Philadelphia Christian Week, Fashion Week, real quick.
Yes. So Friday is our last casting call. It's going to be in Camden, 2601, I believe, Yorkship Square. It's going to be dope. 7:30 to 9:30. It's gonna be crazy. Philadelphia Christian Fashion Week. There has never been a Christian Fashion Week ever in Philadelphia. So this Philadelphia Christian Fashion Week will be the first annual Philadelphia Christian Fashion Week. We found that like I told you on the phone the other day, we found so many things where we don't have to compromise. We did a project called the Adam and Eve Collection. We did a whole fashion shoot video that's on YouTube. We use all gospel content, all Christian content. We did not have to compromise. We found Christian soca. We found Christian reggae.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people out here doing things for God that's not whack. I want to put it out there. That's not garbage. Because a lot of times,
that's right,
doing things Christian, we have a high popularity for coming out for whack material. And just it's like, yo, you ain't gotta come with the secular beat and put godly lyrics on top of it. We don't have to do that no more, bro. We don't have to do that no more. You know what I mean? Come up with our own creativity. God gave us that creativity, so use it. We're looking at the first week of October, so stay tuned. We're looking for donations. We're looking for help. We'll rap. We still looking for a building where to do it at. So
tell us where we can reach you and follow you before you go.
At Sex Can Wait a While on Instagram. Philadelphia Christian Fashion Week on Facebook. Phila Christian Fashion Week on Instagram.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
I need a sound effect of applause. Thank you, Jeremiah Chase, for joining us today and for just coming here and dropping some knowledge, some wisdom here on us today, godly wisdom in your own package. I love the package that is you. And we just pray God's blessings on your new and wonderful family, you and your wife, all that you're doing with your fashion line, Philadelphia Christian Week, sexcanwaitawhile.com, and in the sale, you'll go ahead and get this Virgin Men Do Exist for some people in your life that, just go ahead and slip it under the door. Okay, do what you need to do. So we say goodbye to you as you go on back to work.
And I've already followed him on Instagram. So I've already hit the follow. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Dr. P, hey, Miss Carmela, can you give Dr. P my number? You know what I'm saying? So we can connect.
Absolutely.
I will do so.
Cool.
And
I
will
got
make
more podcasts to do, bro.
Yes. I will make sure that we put all this content in the comments so that you can come back and check for later, as well as the flyer for the Philadelphia Christian Fashion Week, so that you can find out what's happening with that. God bless. See you later. Take care, Mr. Jeremiah Chase. Thank you so much for joining us. And I thank each one of you all for joining us on What's the Message. Every week we try to bring it. This is good food for thought. And I need you to share this with the young men and young women in your life. even the older men and older
Hey,
women in your life,
right.
this is possible. It's doable. All things are possible with God. That's what the word says to us. In all things, God can be, and he has promised that he would be all of these things to us and fill that void, whatever that emptiness is that we have. This is an uplifting conversation, spiritual content that I love. But I want to just say a couple of things before we sign off today. We are in a campaign. Dr. Phil, you know this. We are in our annual Message magazine campaign. Yes, Message is a 3-dimensional ministry. We have a magazine, and you can sign up now at messagemagazine.com, where you can subscribe both for the print edition and the digital edition. There's a sale on right now where you get the print and the digital. So what I'm asking you to do is go ahead and get both. You keep the digital and send the print edition to somebody in your circle of influence who needs some uplift and needs some content in their life that's going to be transformative and changing. We're all about redemption, relationship, and readiness here at Message Magazine. So go ahead. Not only that, remember that we are in several prisons. I just got a call this past week from a chaplain at the Red Eagle. I hope I could say that. The Red Eagle prison facility down in Alabama, thanking us for the magazines that we are sending there to the people who are incarcerated. He said, I know they will be blessed by reading this content. That's all we're trying to do. I want you to also know that we are on the move. I will be in Pennsylvania this week, and hopefully I get to connect with Jeremiah Chase and his wife. We'll be there for what we're calling an infusion. We'll be there with several people in Chester as we're doing everything along with that church there. Pastor Ron Williams doing COVID testing. I even believe COVID vaccinations, handing out all kind of goods and goodies, things that people need. We're just going to be there. So we have several infusions this summer. We need you to go ahead, like, share, follow everything that we're doing here at Message, so that you can also donate and just pray for us. That's the big thing. Pray for what we're doing. In August, we'll be in South Bend, Indiana, and I'll share more of those details a little later. We're also working this summer at another infusion in California. Pomona, California is just one of the cities in which we are coming alongside with Habitat for Humanity and working on housing for people. Come on, your home. If you don't have your home, everything is up in the air and is unstable. So that's what we're seeking to do, message in the community, because we believe the message is our superpower. It's not message, it's the message in Message, because the gospel of Christ is the power unto God, of God unto salvation. Praise God for what the chance we get to do. Now, I'm gonna say one other thing before we go. Don't forget, we got tracks. I was on a trip recently and I took a tracks, and I know it sounds old fashioned, but it still works. Hey, we just had a whole show about courtship and virginity. You talk about some so-called old fashioned concepts that still work. You never know when you meet somebody who needs a word. I took a stack with me on my trip, and just hey, lay back and let the Lord and the Spirit say, this person may need a conversation or may not even need a conversation. They just need a word from you. Slip the thing that God says. Go ahead, share that one with them and see what happens. I went into come on, Dr. Phil, it's so funny. I went into a vegan market where they sell all kind of, sandwiches and chips and everything like this. And, I'm probably the only vegan in the world who loves vegan junk food. That's just a problem with mine. But I went in there, and by the time I left, I was able to share. And I said, Message has been around here all these years, and we have been doing the vegan, vegetarian kind of cuisine for many years. And so I was able to share with the people there at the store. We've got stuff for you to share. We've got conversations for you that can help, create some friendship, coolship, and some community. Right, Dr. Phil?
Hey, listen, and also, if you have content, let's repeat that again. If you have content, even an app that talks about vegan food or working out, exercise, health, you have an app you're featuring, write us, let us know. Even if you don't write to me, write to Message. Let them know we have a book out. We're talking about health. We just talked about, healthy lifestyle as far as relationships. But you have a restaurant. Listen, let's feature you. You got a vegan restaurant. There's plenty, especially around every urban community. Let us know. Now, this video right here, right now, is on YouTube. So that's your track. You can share the link. At least most people we know have YouTube, right? So some people may not have Facebook. You can share the Facebook. You can share that to your page as well. But you can take the YouTube link, share it, and text it to like 5 people that you feel will be a benefit and we can add value to from this video. You want to share this video out.
Oh, Dr. Phil, I thank you for joining us today. And thank all of you for joining us as well. Hey, same time next week. Next week, we're going to be talking to Barna Research. We got 2 experts, or an expert coming on 2 different topics from Barna Research, talking about how to find your calling and purpose and how to mend those broken relationships. You got to join us same time next week, same conversation. God bless.